way every day goes. Every time we've no control. If the sky is pink and white, if the ground is black and yellow, it's the same way you showed me. Nod my head, don't close my eyes. Halfway on a slow move. It's the same way you showed me. If you could fly, then you'd feel south. Up north's getting cold soon. The way it is, we're on land, so I'm someone to hold true. Keep you cool when it's still alive. Won't let you down when it's all ruined. Just the same way you showed me. Showed me. You showed me love. Glory from above. Regard, dear. It's all downhill from here. In the wake of a hurricane, dark skin of a summer shade, nose dive in the floodlines, tall tower, milk crate. It's the same way you showed me. Cannonball off the porch side, older kids trying off the roof. Just the same way you showed me. You showed. If you could die and come back to life, up for air from the swimming pool, you kneel down to the dry land, kiss the earth that birthed you, gave you tools just to stay alive and make it out when the sun is ruined. That's the same way you showed me. Showed. You showed me love. Glory from above. Regard, dear. It's all downhill from here. Remember life, remember how it was. I'm G, Michael Jackson, all this shit. Say what up to Becky, the shoe. Say what up to Benny. Say what up to life and my child. Running up my bikes, running up. Not for me, 15, still in granny six. Give me something sweet, which I might like, immortality. This is life, life, immortality. That's the way every day goes. Every time we've no control. If the sky is pink and white, if the ground is black and yellow, it's the same way you showed me. Nod my head, don't close my eyes. Halfway on a slow move. It's the same way you showed me. If you could fly, then you'd feel south. Up north's getting cold soon. The way it is, we're on land, so I'm someone to hold true. Keep you cool when it's still alive. Won't let you down when it's all ruined. Just the same way you showed me. Showed me. You showed me love. Glory from above. Regard, dear. It's all downhill from here. In the wake of a hurricane, dark skin of a summer shade, nose dive in the floodlines, tall tower, milk crate. It's the same way you showed me. Cannonball off the porch side, older kids trying off the roof. Just the same way you showed me. You showed. If you could die and come back to life, up for air from the swimming pool, you kneel down to the dry land, kiss the earth that birthed you, gave you tools just to stay alive and make it out when the sun is ruined. That's the same way you showed me. Showed. You showed me love. Glory from above. the way every day goes. Every time we've no control. If the sky is pink and white, if the ground is black and yellow, it's the same way you showed me. Nod my head, don't close my eyes. Halfway on a slow move. It's the same way you showed me.
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is February 7th, 2023. And we're currently experiencing a ton of volatility in the markets. Right? Ton of volatility, but it's to be expected. We're going to get into the small time frame price action first. And then we're going to talk about the topic for today, which is the one chart that most people are misreading. Okay? So we're going to talk about all of that today. Hope you're doing great. It is not sunny. It's not cloudy. It's not sunny. It's kind of overcast. I don't know. Somewhere between sunny and cloudy in the DC metro area. But it's a nice day. Haven't gone outside yet, but it's a nice day. I can just feel it. All right. So let's look at the Bitcoin chart on the small time frame. Hey, Andy L. I'm well. Hope you're well as well. All right. So looking at Bitcoin on the small time frame, we're in this little range that we were looking at yesterday. And this, my friends, is a crucial accumulation range, okay? Why is that? Because if you zoom out, let's go on the daily time frame. Daily time frame. You can clearly see that we're at the bottom right now of this larger range, okay? It's about 16 days. It's been about 16 days since we've been in this range chopping up and down, and we're at the bottom of it right now. Okay, and so what we want to do is hold, likely what we are going to do, okay, is hold the integrity of this here channel, this here rising channel, okay? Our momentum indicators on the daily time frame are bottomed out. On the 4-hourly time frame, they're going up slightly, all right? On the hourly time frame, they're looking like they can find support at the midpoint here on our stochastic RSI. On the even smallest time frames, they look like they're bottoming out. So it's likely that we move up from here. Okay, it's likely that we move up and out from here. But there's also a possibility that we break down. If we break down, we come and wick this heavy resistance that we turned into support right here, and maybe that was insufficient, and so maybe that is still what we have to do. But there is some volatility, and a lot of volatility typically means you're going to break one way or the other. And judging, now going back to the small time frame, judging from what we've done, in the past few 15-minute candles, I feel like it's likely that this is an accumulation range, okay? 2 degrees maybe basing in a pivot, and that your first degree was here. This was your second degree, this was your first degree. This is your second degree, so you got a big A, big B, small a, small b, and then your pivot is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then that's your breakout. Okay, that's what I'm reading thus far. And obviously this is dynamic because it's corrective, and corrective waves can take so many different shapes, sizes, and sort of permutations, combinations are endless, seemingly endless. So it's really hard to read as they're forming. So it's always done kind of on a in the moment, you give your best guess, and that's my best guess for a read on what that looks like. Just going through the market really quickly, you see something similar here. Okay, this is Cardano. If I were to read this, let's see. Perhaps this is A, this is big B, this is small a, small b, this is my pivot, and then that's my breakout, okay? It's possible. It's possible. Okay, one thing I want to do right now is I want to check Andy says, could you look at FTM, please? Yeah, we'll look at FTM in a moment when we go through all the altcoins. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to have a quick look at the total crypto market cap, right? To kind of get an idea of what the entire crypto market cap is doing. Let's just zoom out really quickly. Okay, we're still in that range that we put in yesterday, right? So that kind of goes with what we're seeing in Bitcoin. We're in a range. And what do you see here? What do you notice? Remember what we say about ranges, right? Every time you trade a range, it's quite simple. The bottom is support, the top is resistance, the midline is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. So let's pull out our range tool and actually draw this in and see what is likely happening, right? Again, this is a total cryptocurrency market cap. So this represents, instead of going through Bitcoin and all of the different cryptocurrency assets, you could just have a look at the total crypto cap to get an idea for what's going on in the market in the aggregate. So let's put this in and see. We'll clean this up. Just give me a second. Let's see. Something like this. Down here. Something like that. Yep. And then up here. Okay, something like that. Yeah. So what do we know? It's likely happening is you came up to this midline and it was resistance, and instead of consolidating at resistance, you did get a rejection. Okay, you did get a rejection. So this rejection can mean a continuation to the downside and a breakdown of this range. But again, remember what that looks like. If you break down from a range, break any significant support, you're going to have to break, retest, and then break down. Doesn't necessarily look like what we're doing here. Maybe looking like we rejected off of here to come back down, right? Consolidate, and then go back up. That's also a possibility. So that's on the higher time frame. On the smaller time frame, it does look to me, okay, obviously I'm bullish and I'm bullishly biased. You guys know I have a ton of longs. So I have some bias in my analysis. We always do. Let me try to erase these lines because they're redundant now. Okay. So I'm trying to account for my bullish bias. I'm trying to account for that and still try to read the charts objectively, if that's even possible. But again, if I'm looking, I do see possibly 2 degrees of AB basing. That's my first degree. This is my second degree. And this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. My pivot. A little bit of consolidation at the base, which you would expect, and then a move up. So I wouldn't believe, I won't jump to the conclusions that this is bearish. This rejection, and this is a rejection, it's a 3-wave move from resistance. This is a rejection, but it is not a rejection of the price in the larger context of being in this channel. I still think it's a good probability we hold support here and then we move up, because there's a possibility that this is an accumulation range, 2 degrees of AB basing, and a pivot, and that's what you're doing there. Okay, So that's my read on the market in general. Very volatile, very volatile. And of course, you all know that this volatility is spurred on by none other than the DXY, the US dollar currency index, which is the main pool of liquidity for the crypto market, for also, regular risk on assets. So let's look at the DXY. Okay, and this is a chart that I think a lot of people have misread. Lots of people have misread. And let's look at this, because all throughout at least my Twitter feed, I'm seeing a lot of different influencers, big channels, saying that this is a bullish chart, because in the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days, count them. In the past 4 days, the DXY has printed positive price action. Okay, so positive price action in the past 4 days. They're over the moon. They're saying, "See, I told you so. We're nuking. We're gonna go down to zero. Blah 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 blah." The DXY is positive. It's at support. It's going to break this trend. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I have no idea what they're looking at. And if you're bullish on the dollar here, you just can't read a chart. I'm sorry. It's quite clear, right? Anybody with a modicum of skills and technical analysis can read this as a downtrend since September, right? A strong downtrend. And remember, any strong trend has to be broken by, or any strong trend has to be flipped or transmuted. That's the right word. Transmuted into the opposite trend by way of the process of accumulation. So accumulation channels, right? Just like we did in Bitcoin for 234 days, we went sideways, right? You can see that throughout the rest of the crypto market. Things don't just go down and up, right? You need some transmutation of the price action. You need absorption of the supply. And here, the dollar currency index has just been going down, and at best has been putting in what we would call intra-wave corrections. And those intra-wave corrections, as you would expect, have, just commonly hit the support of this falling channel. And this falling channel is about 78 days old, something like that. Let's see. 84 days, sorry. It's about 84 days old, okay? Because how do you characterize a trend? We want to be as objective as possible. Obviously, we all have biases. But when you're looking at trends, you want to assess the strength of a trend and the viability of a trend. You look at the time it took. So this is a daily time frame. I got 84 candles here, which seems to me is relatively strong. That is a reliable trend. So whatever I find here, I think this is good data. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, now 4 touch points. So 3 prior touch points on an 84-day trend falling in this channel, and every single time I hit the resistance, I rejected. Okay, correctively. So that tells me that these are nothing but, especially this one and this one, 3-wave moves up. And what do we know about 3-wave moves? They're corrective, right? Elliott wave tells us that. Anything in a flavor of 5 is impulsive. Anything in a flavor of 3 is corrective. Obviously, this is oversimplifying it, but we say flavor of to really cover all bases, because we know there's so many different shapes, sizes, combinations, permutations, even of impulsive and corrective waves. So, we say flavor of 3. You typically see corrective sequences in 3, impulsive sequences in 5. But here, very clearly, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so people are getting excited about a correction, otherwise called a bull trap. Okay, a bull trap, because the overall larger trend is down and remains down. The only way to break it again is to reliably absorb all of the supply at a macro support level, right? And then start to make a higher high and break significant resistance, retest it as support, and then you can say the trend is broken. That's going to take some time. You don't just do that all of a sudden. Again, it shows you the immaturity and the lack of experience that a lot of these so-called expert master traders, right, have or don't, right? So, also always you can corroborate your price action reads with your momentum indicators. Look at your stochastic RSI on the daily, completely overbought. You go on the 4 hourly, completely overbought and coming back down, okay? So it's resetting. And you go on your hourly, and you're actually down here in oversold territory with the hourly, which is interesting. But it has yet to cross, and that's important as well. So I'm looking at the high time frames, namely the daily and the 4 hourly. We're crossed bullish, we're crossed bearish. Not yet crossed bearish on the daily, but about to be crossed bearish. At least we're oversold, or overbought rather, on the daily. And on the 4 hourly, we're crossed bearish, and we're moving down. And so it's basically telling you there's a lot more downside to this, okay? Going on the smaller time frames, what does this look like to me? Okay, let's again try and read this. So on the 15-minute time frame, if I had to read this as a distribution channel, I would read this as my initial break of structure, 3 waves down, right? Kind of initiating the break of this trend, okay? That is my A wave targeting wave 4 of the previous trend. So I like that. And then I would say this is a subsequent B wave. Let's make this larger. Okay. Again, this is just counting corrective waves as we tend to do, because when you're looking at 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot, it's not just always accumulation. Sometimes it's distribution. This would be distribution. It's essentially the opposite, right? So 1 degree is right here. So that is big A, big B. And then you could say that this right here is small a. Let's rewrite that. Small a. And that this is small b. Okay? And again, the relationship between A and B is such that B never exceeds the phi ratio, or the 1,618 of A, or else they don't have a relationship, right? You have to stay within the phi ratio for it to be a pair of corrective waves. So again, this is legitimately small a. This could legitimately be small b. As you can see, it's within the phi ratio. That 1,618 is at 104.028. And then, last but not least, you have what we call a pivot, right? 2 degrees of AB basing, that's 1 degree of AB basing, 2 degrees of AB basing, and this is a pivot. This may very well be the pivot that leads to the establishment of the new trend. Just like I said just a few moments ago, when entertaining the possibility of the DXY changing trend from down to up. Same thing on the smaller time frames. This works for all time frames. This is the trend of this corrective wave. This is the impulse of this corrective wave, right? Let's zoom out even a little more and show this. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. This is the 1, 2, 3 wave move, okay? So that the last wave of this 3 wave move, as we know, it's always going to be impulsive. The last wave of any 3 wave move is impulsive. So, now going back onto the smaller time frames. If that's indeed the case, you're going to need to put in a range. Sorry, I don't know why I drew it like that. A range of distribution to change this uptrend to a downtrend. that is this on this time frame. Do you see how it works on every single time frame? And the more you read them, I think the better you get. Again, 2 degrees of baby basing and a pivot. That's my first degree. This is my... What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm kind of confused as to what I'm looking at. I just counted this. Oh, yeah. What the hell am I looking at? Sorry, 1 second. Oh, yeah, okay. Wow. Sometimes you just completely blank out, like, what the hell am I doing? So this is my first degree, right? This is my second degree. My second degree is more like something like this. And then this is my pivot. And this should be my move down. Okay? So let's see if that plays out. But that's a potential distribution count for this DXY. But most importantly, I'll say, irrespective of if that actual read on the small time frame is correct and accurate, what we can hang our hat on and we can say with a high degree of probability is likely playing out is the fact that you're at resistance and this trend is going to play out as it has in the past. It played out once, twice, 3 times. This will be the 4th time. Okay? This trend should play out in continuation to the downside. Alright? So that's what I'm looking at with the DXY. I think it's being misread as being a bullish trend. What's the invalidation for this? Obviously, you know, any consolidation at resistance and a break, retest, breakout, that is a bona fide change in trend. But again, on the higher time frames, there's no evidence that you've put in the adequate A-B basing to change this larger trend from down back to up. So that is my read on what I'm seeing in the markets here. So quick glance at Bitcoin. Looks like this is also possible. And guys, remember, Bitcoin and the DXY are inversely correlated, right? Almost perfectly so on the high monthly time frame. But sometimes, yes, sometimes, even on the small time frames, you can see that perfect inverse correlation. And just like we counted a corrective channel, a distributive channel, right, at the top of a range, right, at a resistance, you can count the opposite at the bottom of an accumulation range, right? So, at the bottom of a range for accumulation. So here, like I said, this can be counted as 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. That's your pivot, right? 3 waves. You don't see the 3-wave move here, but right, all of them in flavors of 3. So you have essentially your 2 degrees of AB bases and your pivot, which is your third set or your third pair of corrective waves, which should yield that move up. So we'll see. Let's wait and see. Maybe this happens on stream. It's not always clean and clear and easy, but we do it, and that's how you get better. You build your skills. Conscious says, yeah, Phantom and VeChain too. Yeah, VeChain we always go over because that's in my list. A lot of people are bearish right now. They've been bearish. A lot of people have been bearish. But again, it doesn't really matter. People like to think that the market moves based off of retail trader sentiment, and if people are bearish, they're going to sell. And so you have to, if you really want to pump your bags, you have to convince people that the price is going to go up. because then they're just going to buy, and then all of a sudden the price is going to move. That only applies to really, really small market cap projects, and you'd have to convince a lot of people. By and large, if you want to win, you have to read properly. You have to read accurately, and then you win. It doesn't really matter what people feel and how they misread the market or read the market correctly. You're just playing a game against yourself. So yeah, that's what I believe, and thus far, that's really served me well. Just, consistently reading the markets for what I believe is happening. Resistance, I'm not bullish at resistance unless we accumulate or consolidate at resistance and prove that resistance can be flipped into support, okay? But I just don't see it for the DXY. I think that this right here is corrective. And another thing, and the last thing I'll say about the DXY, and then we'll move on to the altcoins, is this. You want to remember that any move that is initiated correctively will always have a counter in the opposite way. Let me repeat that. Any move that is initiated correctively will always have a counter in the opposite way. That being said, if this count is accurate, and this is, 1 degree, 2 degrees right here sometime, and then our pivot goes something like this. Remember, just because you pivot and you initiated the break correctively, you should expect a counter corrective move, which this is, or this should be, to come up to at least the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level in the case of a zigzag, or the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level in the case of a flat correction. And then you get the impulsive move. Okay? So all I'm trying to say is, if this is corrective, this is counter corrective, and then the actual trend goes like this. So people kind of are freaking out or maybe confused by this counter corrective move, which is not where you want to go. You want to go in the direction of the trend, which is always going to be the initial break of structure. Although that B wave or that counter corrective move can take some time. It can overtake the initial break of structure. It can make a higher high or a lower low. It doesn't really, it's not about the levels. It's about the relationship between A and B. A, as long as B stays within the phi ratio of A, it's fair game. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing, and I think this is exactly what our small time frame indicator, right? This 15-minute time frame is showing that, all right, this was a break of structure, and this retest came back, but look, the trend's already exhausted on the small time frame. So I would expect a re-establishment of this trend down. Okay, and yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. Most compelling is the daily time frame. You're not going to get a daily time frame that's this oversold in this way. And what I mean by in this way, do you see this right here? It's one thing if you come up and then you come back down and you do something like this, but you're coming up and you've already done this. So you've already put in some sort of initial break of structure in your momentum, and then a counter correction, which this is right here. This is the counter. Do you see that? This is like getting into the weeds of a momentum analysis. All right, I don't always do this. I'm price action first and foremost, but I'm just doing it with you because it's a live stream, and this is what's going on in my head. I look at everything. So in my head, when I look at this, right, I'm seeing this as being the initial break of structure. This is the counter corrective wave, and the counter corrective wave is essentially the impulse of this this sort of complete corrective sequence, this 3-wave sequence like this. So it just basically makes a higher high, which obviously it made a higher high on the charts as well. But that is all she said and wrote for me on the daily. That's my most compelling thesis for this being resistant and bearish and not bullish. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if altcoins, Bitcoin can recover and pump from that support level. Because a pump from that support level is all we need for continuation of this move, right? A pump from, let's go back to Bitcoin. A pump from the bottom of this range, this blue range right here, going on the 4-hourly. A pump from that basically says, I've consolidated for 16 days and everything's great, golden. I've absorbed all of the buys, orders, and sell orders and all that stuff, and I'm ready to resume the trend. That is so bullish. And the move that will happen more than likely from here in the next 2 weeks, right? So about 14, 15 days will dwarf whatever we saw in January. People thought January was bullish. This may be the most bullish price action we've had in years. Okay? That's what is likely going to be the result of this cause. This is the cause. That is the effect. Remember, we're always looking in terms of cause and effect. You don't have to wait until the rain starts pouring down and making you wet. If you see clouds and you smell the smell of, rain, some people can smell that. You feel the humidity rising. You can see the clouds coming and the sky darkening. You can hear the thunder and you can see the lightning. You know the storm's coming. That's what I see this as specifically, above major resistance, above this 400 plus day bear market downtrend. Okay, so all right, that's Bitcoin. That's my take. I am expecting this move to continue to the upside. I am expecting the DXY to continue to the downside. Okay, and now let's look at the altcoins, which by and large have been performing quite well. Yep. So getting started with Cardano. Let's go on the hourly time frame. So for Cardano, I think this is my consolidation reversal pattern. Okay. And this is where we break out. And that breakout should yield a breakout of this larger rising wedge. Extremely bullish, okay? Still really bullish on these assets, on these positions. I think the strength of having a call and committing to it and staying with it is really where you make the life-changing money. It's not in, selling this and selling that and getting in and out of your positions. No, it's just holding them. Hold them for a few months, because people have to remember, if you look at Bitcoin's price history, it's something like out of all of the days of the year, there's 10 or 12 days of the year where 80% of the gains are made, or something like that. Don't hold me to it, but essentially the gist is there's a small amount of time during which a disproportionate amount of the gains are made. And we know this to be true in Elliott Wave theory because everything, when dealing with impulses, happens quickly, either up or down. Corrections are what take time. And so the impulses, as long as you can be around and exposed during the time of the impulse, you will experience that disproportionate asymmetric growth in the market. Timing it is exceedingly difficult, right? Precisely at what moments, but they happen in the blink of an eye, right? Boom. It just takes a few minutes sometimes. And then for a few hours, a few days, you're going sideways, you're consolidating, you're reaccumulating after that move. So that concept is why you want to be consistent in your reads, right? You don't waffle. You go on the high time frames, you make the read. Maybe you go on the low time frames to make your entries. Otherwise, just stay with it. And that's where you really make your bones. Okay, this is an example of what I think is to come in the rest of the cryptocurrency market. Algorand, this morning it seems, was it this morning? Yeah, it was, yesterday morning, broke the top resistance here, if you can't tell. Let me pull this out. Okay, it broke the top resistance of this rising wedge, and it retested it as support. Okay, and again, trading 101, trading principles 101, breaking high time frame resistance, breaking high time frame support, retesting it as resistance or support is a confirmation. You did that right here. You're going up. You're good. This level has been conquered. That was the final boss. Okay. Bonk, my favorite shitcoin, looks good. That looks like nice. This looks like a nice wave 1-2 situation, right? 5 waves up, 3 waves down. The time it took for 5 waves and the time it took for the 3 waves, approximately similar. I think we're going into wave 3. I like it. Dent, it's doing something similar than what we're seeing in Algorand. Okay. Trick is, with some of these more volatile assets, where do you put these trend lines? Okay, so you see I just moved it. It could be drawn here. Okay, you have a decent amount of touches here, and obviously here for this to be a valid break and retest. But again, when the higher the volatility, the more challenging it is to be more precise on the lower time frames, especially with your support and resistances and all that stuff. There's a lot of noise. Oh, yeah, Andy says, I do see a lot, I do see a head and shoulders on the Bitcoin dominance. Altcoin season will come. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance has been bearish for quite some time. Obviously, we've looked at it on this channel, and, it has been doing what we expected it to do. Let's go on the daily really quickly. So yeah, we said that it was likely to break down from this level because it was a massive bear flag. Impulse, some sort of consolidation, and then this should lead into another impulse. So we were saying that back here even before it broke this resistance. But again, just because you break resistance and make a higher high does not make a trend make. A higher high does not a trend make. There's so many analysts, so many speculators on YouTube, on crypto Twitter, who think higher highs and higher lows are all you need. They're so insignificant. Before you make the higher high is just part of it, right? The higher high means nothing unless you do a retest. The move is made, just like we always say, making the higher high, then coming back down, testing it as support, holding it, and then going up from it. Unless and until that's made, a higher high is insignificant. Absolutely, utterly insignificant. And that's what you call a fake out. I don't like that terminology. I think it's thrown around willy-nilly. But that, I think, would be the best use of that term, fake out. Dodo. I mean, this is really bullish, guys. This is another one that's quite volatile. But if you just look at basic support and resistance, you'd have to be crazy to be bearish here. I mean, just look at that. I mean, that's all you need to do. Like that, what I just did, tells you everything you need to know. And it's all basic support and resistance. You're just looking at levels, right? You're in this consolidation for God knows how long. You break it to the upside. You retest it as support. And then you're on your merry effing way. That's all you need to look at, right? Be bearish all you want. You're going to get smoked if you fade that. Obviously, I don't know who's trying to short Dodo. It's so volatile. Like, I wouldn't short it or long it on leverage. Actually, I did do that, but with very low margin. So, yeah, I guess, never mind. It is volatile, but, you know, if you use good risk management, you can play anything on leverage, okay? But I wouldn't advise it, especially not shorting it, not at this point in time. Dogecoin. Again, these rising wedges are common in the market, okay? And these are the support levels. And it looks like for Dogecoin, you're at a support level. So the question is, kind of like with Bitcoin, what are you going to do? Are you going to hold this support and then matriculate up, break up and out, retest the support and go on? Or are you going to break down? Okay, I think it's the former. And I think that's what's happening throughout the market. Let's see. Let me put this and switch it to Bitcoin so we can monitor what Bitcoin's doing while we look at our altcoins. Okay, let's go on the hourly. I just like to have it in this window. All right, let's move on. Ethereum. So Ethereum is kind of doing the same thing. Okay. Support and resistance, nothing more, nothing less. I know that this, I usually talk about Elliott waves, and, you know, I do a lot of Elliott wave. I love Elliott wave. That's my expertise. But you have to know when to use what. And I don't know how useful it is to talk about the fact that this is a double three or triple three. It doesn't really matter. What matters is whether we're going to hold support or break resistance. So you just use some trend lines and you look at the support and resistance profile, and you can see here, looks as if we didn't, I mean, this is bullish. Let me tell you why. We're finding some way to build support without even using this level of support, which is the organic support and resistance here. You kind of made a new one here. That to me tells me that there's a lot of buying pressure with Ethereum. That's the first thing that comes to me. Okay. The second thing is, if I do read this as some sort of quick flat correction here, I'm reading this as a subsequent AB base, okay? And that is kind of the last bit of my AB basing. So I am not doing anything but looking for longs with this chart on this market for those reasons. So that's Ethereum. Litecoin. Look. You're not, if you consolidate, first thing that jumps out to me on this chart on the hourly time frame is if you're consolidating sideways, I want no parts of anything short or any kind of understanding or thinking that it's going anywhere up but down. If you're consolidating sideways, like a proper consolidation, not a distribution, but a proper consolidation, right? Where you're putting in like proper 3-wave moves that are quite complex. You can see here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that is intense consolidation, like proper consolidation. You're going up. You're going to break this to the upside. If this weren't that bullish, this would have been orthogonal. This would have been straight. Okay? And that would have even been considered bullish because the continuation of the trend would be assumed, right? You're going up, you consolidate, and then you continue to go up. That's what we call a bull flag. But here, it's kind of like a bull flag with an intermediate, or it's an intra-wave consolidation that's up and to the right. So it's like the most bullish of bull flags. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. Okay, looks very bullish to me. Again, conviction. All you need is conviction. I've been in that trade for eons, it seems, for months, and it's doing really well, and it will continue to do very well. But you can't profit from these high time frame moves without some perspective and some patience and some planning. This is actually, those are the taglines to my company, my trading firm. Patience, perspective, and planning all are necessary for success, like real success in the markets. Because if you don't have planning, if you don't have perspective, you have no idea what you're doing. You're stuck on the small time frames. You're scared shitless. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know, you're looking at your market cipher A, B, and C in the 15-minute, or not 15-minute. They use like 16-minute and the 13-minute time frames. Weird time frames. Somebody please tell me if they know, why do market cipher people use the strangest time frames known to man? Like, I look at a clock, I see time, and we talk quarter hours, half hours. But like market cipher people talk 6-minute time frame, they talk 16-minute time frame, they talk like 16-hour time. Like, what is going on with that tool? Anyway, you're not worried about all of that stuff on the small time frames and waffling and saying it could go up, could go down with good perspective. Good perspective, you look at high time frame, you read the market with a high degree of probability, you set a trading thesis. Even if you don't know exactly when it's going to be executed in the time frame, you have a decent understanding with a high degree of probability where the chart, where the price, where the asset is moving. And so as a result, you plan. And you plan for there to be an accumulation after a drawdown. And then after that accumulation, a markup. You plan for the markup to go on for, I don't know, a few months or something. You plan. And that's where you get your patience. The patience doesn't come out of nothing. People misunderstand this. When people say to be a good trader, you have to be patient. All right, my mentor Jack Schwager, in his Market Wizards books, always says, yeah, this trader's elite. They have patience. They put in one trade, they let it ride for 7 months, and made life-changing wealth. And then they rinsed and repeated on the way down or something like that. Whatever. You can't be just patient without the knowledge and the perspective and the planning to execute a plan. Do you understand? The patient ones are executing. They're not just sitting on their hands because somebody told them to be patient and they're inactive. No. Like, for instance, on this channel, I always say I've been in trades for months. I've been planning for this for months. And I've been talking about this for months. I'm not taking any trades on a daily basis. I'm managing trades. I'm watching my maintenance fees, and I'm watching my maintenance margin, my trading margin, my position margins. I'm moving up my stop losses. I'm doing all that kind of stuff. I'm not taking profit. I'm not doing any of that stuff. This is how you really win. But the people who are telling you, take profit, take profit, take profit, they make 5%, 10%, 40%, 50%, telling you, take profit, it's not going to go up forever. They have no perspective. Their plan is always a short-term plan. So they can't actually win on the high time frame, like let a trade go and make tens of thousands of percent. They can't do that because they don't have the perspective to do that. You understand? This is what separates, I think, in my estimation, the elite traders from your average traders. Your average traders, they have one skill set, right? Maybe they can trade ranges on a 5, 10, 15-minute time frame, and they're using your VRVP volume profile. A lot of traders like that on the internet. They'll zoom in, they'll turn on the VPVR, and they'll tell you, there's a bullish divergence at this point, and then it's going up to here. That should be resistance, so take profit, and, blah, 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 and they're waiting to see if that move. You shouldn't be taking trades every other day in a strong high time frame trend. You shouldn't. And if you are, you're doing it wrong. Okay? Because you're never ever, I don't care how good you are, you're never going to outtrade. You're never going to outtrade somebody who's just been exposed from the beginning and may have experienced a drawdown here or there, but in the aggregate, they're going to hit those big moves that happen in an instant where you happen to be asleep or you happen not to be paying attention. Do you see what I mean? In the aggregate, they're never going to outtrade somebody who just sits in their trade, sits in their position, and lets their position ride, as we say. Okay? So that's just a little trading wisdom that I've taken from the Market Wizards book, from other traders that I admire, and from my own experience. Let it ride. Less is more. In a trend, let the trend be your friend until the very end. Let it ride. Let it run. All right, RSR, that's what we're on. Actually, guys, one second. I'm going to reach back and get some water. I put my water out of reach. I don't know why I did that. All right, RSR. This looks really good on the small time frames. Let's go on the 4-hourly really quickly. This is quintessential. We've been looking at this for quite some time. Every time I look at this chart, I tell you the same thing. This midline is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. We were below it last time we looked at it. We were below it last time we looked at it around here, right? Something like this. We popped up above it. We're going to retest it as support and then move on. That's it. Simple. Support and resistance, TA. It's great. It's very, very useful, very, very effective. And again, just looking at the larger channel, the target is the top of the channel. So just let it ride. When it starts to move there, it moves. You don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but that move's going to come, and it's going to play out. Shiba Inu, one of the best performers in, I think, 2017, was it? But it retraced all of those gains, so people are looking for the next Shiba Inu. The next Shiba Inu is Shiba Inu. I'll continue to say it. Shiba Inu is a great, great, great play. You went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You came down 1, 2, 3. Flavors of 3. Time taken to go up is around the same time it took to come down. Your retracement is, I think, minimum 0.382. Let's double check that, if that's true. Yeah, you're past the 382. So this is a wave 1, wave 2 situation. Expect, a continuation of the trend. That's it. Very simple. Nice and simple. That's how the analysis should be. There's no need to complicate things and look at all of this and that and the third. Support and resistance, basic Elliott wave Like, you're looking for impulses, you're looking for retracements and continuation. That's it. Synthetics, you are above that midline, so now you're above support, strong support. You came up, retested. I think this was the retest of that support line. Expect to continue to go up. Again, the target is the top of the range. Okay. Tron, one of my favorites because the high time frame chart is so attractive. It's so attractive. 600 days of resistance broken, retested as support. Whatever this is, which to me looks very clearly like a series of consolidation, a series of accumulations, corrective accumulation. So you would say that this is what I would a few days back call a leading diagonal. But today I would simply call that an accumulation channel where you have 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. And that is simply a reversal of this right here. Okay? This is your impulse, your impulsive portion of this flat correction. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pivot 5. Okay? So everything that comes out after here is 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot off of that trend down, and that trend down finished that ABC flat correction right here. So that's my narrative, that's the story there, that's what I think is going on. And essentially, once again, you have you have a rising wedge, and what you're looking for is a breakup, retest, and continuation, which is likely what you're going to get, given that, these are serious consolidation. This is a first degree, A, big B, small a, small b. This is a pivot, and you're good. So, really like this. And again, the best thing about these impulses, the best thing about these trends are, it seems like it's not doing anything, and then all of a sudden, it seems like it doesn't stop. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, and then it relaxes again, it breathes again. I do expect, based off of what we talked about yesterday with the moon phasing, the new moon, the full moon, the price action, what the DXY is doing, those two main indicators, I do believe the next 2 weeks are going to be relatively bullish, meaning there are going to be a lot of days, a lot of hours, a lot of minutes where you're making those strong, very volatile, impulsive moves to the upside. So as long as you're in position and exposed to take advantage of that, you're fine. You don't have to worry. You make gains without having to pay attention. Andy says, please have a look at Alice and AVAX too. Okay, so we will try and look at all of them. We'll try to look at all of them. Okay, quick look at Bitcoin. We're looking and waiting for this move up. Okay, let's go on the 15-minute time frame. So we're still waiting. One thing I noticed here is this. You do have, and I'll take this with a grain of salt, but this is on a small time frame. We do have some confirmed bullish divergence here on the 15. Okay. It's kind of like looking for that, and we did confirm that. So that seems to be playing out. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to go much higher than this, but it can. Okay? So that is what's going on with Bitcoin on the smaller time frames. Looks like you do have that throughout the market as well, as you see. Right? You see that? Question is, does that continue up, or do you get a wick down? It's possible. I don't think it's probable. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just cycling through the alts and seeing what that move looks like in the rest of the market. That's all we're doing right now. All right, let's go back to our altcoin analysis. All right, XRP. You have found a way to get above this midpoint right here with this move, and I believe that what you've been putting in a series of AB bases. So 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. Let's go on the hourly time frame right here. And so I believe that this is your retest of this level, right? This midline, very important resistance turned into support. So you get a continuation to the top of the channel as expected. So that's XRP. Simple support and resistance. Zilliqa. Once again, you have that rising wedge. And that rising wedge is, again, a series comprised of a series of corrective moves. And those corrective moves are an accumulation channel, right? And that accumulation channel is a result of this impulse. And this impulse is the final move, or what I'm seeing as the final move of this flat correction. I take that back. I take that back. In this case, I think you put in a complex flat correction that goes something like this, okay? And this is something like a WX, Y, X, Z. I think this is the Y. I like that. Okay? So that's what I'm seeing with Zilliqa. Again, it's not that important what your count is for that complex correction. What's most important is that you recognize that you have some sort of consolidation, a complex consolidation in this region, and that you understand the nature of it is an intra-wave correction. It's kind of like, you have a trend, and then an intermediate accumulation or intermediate consolidation, and then the continuation of the trend. Once you identify that, it really doesn't matter if you see this as a double three or a triple three or whatever, or how you parse the complex flat correction from the subsequent AB basing, which I think is actually just over here. Okay? But again, you see that it's a rising wedge, and if you're bullish, you're going to see this confirmation, break, retest, breakout. Not enough to make the higher high, as you can see here. You made the higher high, you made the higher high, you made the higher high. You never retested it as support, so you always came back down in that wedge. VeChain. Okay, Akansha wanted to see VeChain. VeChain's one of our assets. I think it's going to do awesome. I think it's going to do really, really well. Here you can see the same kind of anatomy. You have some sort of rising wedge, okay? And again, that rising wedge is a combination of a complex flat correction followed by some sort of AB basing channel. Here, I think it's quite clear. I've got this as my WXY right there. Boom. And then everything over here is my subsequent... Sorry. I would say WXYXC. I said this yesterday. I'm just I probably made the same mistake yesterday. So yeah, I think it's a 333. In any case, I think this is my ensuing AB base, ensuing sort of accumulation of that supply, right? That's the processing of that change of trend into the new trend. But again, rising wedge, looking really solid. Zoom out even more. What do you see? A break of resistance. You know, this line is strong resistance when you're below it, making it support and matriculation up from there. That's the high time frame read. Very simple. You just buy and you expect at the very least to hit the top of this channel where we're matriculating towards. But yeah, all of these assets, as you can tell, most of these altcoins, they're so bullish that the accumulations are up and to the right. This is not impulsive in on a small time frame. Obviously on a higher time frame it's impulsive. It's all part of one sequence. Even the inter-wave corrections are impulsive, right? On a higher time frame, they're part of the larger sequence. But what I'm trying to say is this: noticing or reading the larger trend, you get in and you enjoy gains, and you don't even watch, you don't even pay attention to all the fits and starts, all of the intra-wave consolidations. It doesn't matter, because in the aggregate you're making higher highs and higher lows. How crazy is that? While you're correcting, you're still making gains, right? So that is VeChain. In that trade, been in that trade, and it's just seems to be going up incrementally on a daily basis. I'm just gonna have a peek at it real quick. And let's see, VeChain's, yeah, it's up 150%, right? Got in around 2 cents, and yeah, this is a great trade. It's a great trade, and you know, because of good perspective, good high time frame analysis, this is nothing I expect to take profit on anytime soon. By anytime soon, I mean I'm gonna let this run for the month, 2 months, 3 months it takes to get to the high time frame targets. And obviously we're going to talk about that as we get closer to the date. But again, strategy. We got in, built the positions during the bear market, built the positions, and now we enjoy profit. It's easy. It's all downhill from here, so to speak. We just let the trend play out. Very little has to be done in terms of trading here. Okay? Very little. If you're savvy. If you're not, you're trading in and out, you're not even sure, you don't know what the high time frame chart is, you're continuously zoomed in on the 16-minute, the 17-minute chart or whatever, and you know, trying to decide if it can go up or down, and you're taking profit and you're getting back in, you're working hard, but you're hardly working, you're not being efficient. Theta, we broke the midline of this channel, retested it as support, and now we're almost back at the top. Okay, so we kind of hit the top here, and now we're consolidating at the top. So actually, for Theta, okay, I think this right here is your rising wedge. And in that rising wedge, I do see a complex corrective pattern. And it's the following: W, X, Y, X, Z. And that Z, that last move, was super volatile, super impulsive. You can see it's like a straight line down. Okay, I think this is a 333. What you're getting here is your AB basing and your move up and out of this channel. So that's what I'm getting for theta. Telcoin, similarly, you're at the top of this channel, this larger bear market accumulation channel. Okay, took you some time, but you're there. And now what you're experiencing is some AB basing after you put in an A or a WXY. I think this is a double 3. Do you see that? This is your initial break of structure. This is your intravening wave Y. So 1, 2, 3. And this is your X wave. Did I say intravening Y wave? Intravening X wave. So W, 1, 2, 3, X, Y. Straight down. Everything else, consolidation, reversal, AB basing for a move up and out. Right? The best traders, in my opinion, don't get thrown off by all of this consolidation. They recognize the overall trends and ride the trends. It takes some doing to recognize that, to read that, but I think that is really the name of the game. That's how you win. Let's have a quick peek at what Bitcoin did or didn't do. It's not looking bad. Let's have a quick peek at the... Oh, we closed the DXY, didn't we? Let's open another channel or another window for the DXY, shall we? Shit. There. Okay, so what's the DXY doing? Are we getting that rejection as we thought? So, okay. Yes. Not completely yet, but yes, in a sense, right? We're still kind of up here in terms of exhaustion on this small time frame, right? Overbought. And we did reject down. So if we come back up, it's coming back up to come back down. It says on the 15-minute time frame. What's the hourly time frame look like? Okay, the hourly time frame, what I suspected, you get one of these crosses. It's not a cross in that your momentum starts now shifting to go back up. It's crossing like it's going to do one of these. Do you see? Like a bearish divergent double top. Okay, that's what it looks like. The 4-hourly obviously is still cross bearish because it's 4-hourly, it moves slower. Okay, so that's what the DXY looks like. We're just monitoring these as we work, as we monitor these altcoins. Matic. I feel like it's been at this level for quite some time. But flavor of 3 correction. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the subsequent channel that's rising of AB basing. So looks good for continuation. You already retested important resistance as major support right here. And then you did it again over here. Break, retest of this level right here. So it's just levels of breaking support, making it, breaking resistance rather, making it new support, breaking resistance, making it new support, and rinse and repeat. DYDX, another great example of that. Breaking important resistance, making it new support in a flavor of 3. Corrective move. And then everything from here is 2 degrees baby basing and a pivot as I read it. Okay? So I'm seeing first degree right here, second degree, and then this is my pivot. So 3 sets of corrective pairs. Looking good for continuation. Harmony 1. Look at this. I mean, it's just, you can't make this up. This is the definition of let it correct, but don't worry about it. Like, let it correct, but don't worry about it. If it's going up, let it go up. Riding the trend, riding the wave. Ever since it retested this high time frame resistance into new support, it's been chopping up at a 45-degree angle. And eventually, luckily, to break out. This is impulsive, but it's not really impulsive in the sense that it's making a strong, big, vertical move. That's coming. This is kind of like, I always say, you're riding a roller coaster, and it has a huge drop, but to get to that big drop, you gotta slowly work your way up to the top of that drop. And then you go. And then the ride gets really fun. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing with Harmony. But yeah, this is another one of these examples where you got in because you read the high time frame sort of break of resistance, retest of support. You read that and you got in, and even though you haven't had a vertical strong pump where you're gaining 50% in a day or anything like that, your account just keeps going up and up and up. Your position just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's, it's very encouraging. Very encouraging. MOVR, Moon River. This is, to me, this is your flat correction right here. And this is your subsequent AB basing right here. And you're about to break this resistance. If you haven't already broken it. If you haven't already broken it, there you go. Break and retest. That's possible. Okay. Bullish, bullish, bullish. What a surprise. It's also bullish. Self-key. This is the last one on our list. I have exactly 18 different assets that I am invested in. Some of them I have a couple positions in. But yeah, this is just like all of the other ones. You broke important resistance, you turned it into support on this midline, and some way, somehow, you matriculate up and up and up to the next main resistance, which is the top of the channel. So that's all that's happening right there. This one's extremely volatile. I have it on spot. This is one of my few spot positions. I don't dare do anything with self-key on margin. It's just too volatile. So we're going to now look at those assets that we didn't. Phantom, we're going to look at AVAX and Alice, and then we're going to call it a stream. Okay, so let's dive into... So first, let's just look and see the percent change. Okay, we have some movement. It's not the most bullish, most green watch list ever, but it's not terrible. It's at least green. It's not a bunch of red. Okay, and our general watch list, has anything broken out yet? Okay, yes, we do have a big breakout. Okay, and this is the type of breakout we can expect throughout the market. So GRT is up 56% right now. FET is up 25%. Chili's is up 20%. Cartesi is up 14%. Right? HBAR is up 12%. So this is the type of thing, this double digit, these big breakouts, this is what we can expect. So we're looking specifically for what again? Alice and AVAX. So let's go alphabetical. I don't know what's going on here. So I'm going to take this off. AVAX. So let's zoom out. 4-hourly time frame. So what I want to do, the first thing I want to do here is look at my main support and resistances. Probably draw a channel, yeah. Connect some support. And connect some resistances. At the end of the day, it's all about support and resistance, no matter what kind of chart tool or chart sort of reading style you're into. It's all about support and resistance. So here I think you can see quite well. This is your this is your support. You have a few data points here, and this is your resistance, a few data points here. Okay, so you're currently consolidating right at resistance, which is bullish. Okay, and specifically on the smaller time frames, you've put in what's clearly a 1, 2, 3 ABC correction. Okay, so you went up, and it looks like you went up correctively because the time it took to go up here. Wait. Okay, I take that back. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it looks like. And then you're going to come back down and retest this as support. Right there. That's what it looks like to me. I bet if you measured this, you would get a 1618 Fibonacci extension of wave 1 retracement of wave 2. I would bet. Let's see. Where is this tool? Here. So let's take the bottom of this purported wave 1. Something like this. Something like that. Wave 2. Yup. You see that? Wave 1 takes about the same time as wave 2 took. That's wave 1. This is wave 2. And obviously wave 2 retraces to between the 382 and the 618 of wave 1. Wave 3 goes to between the 1618 and the 2 Fibonacci extension of wave 1 retracement of wave 2. So we have this. It's really nice. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. I think you get this wave 4. And now you're looking for wave 5. And what you're likely to get is, once you put that wave 5 in, that wave 5 is going to come back down to retest this important resistance, this bear market accumulation resistance, as support. So that's what I would be looking out for on Avalanche. But I think the next move is that, maybe 60% up, and then however much down, 40% down, to make that retest, and then a continuation, right? So that is, let's put that in just in case we come back to that. It's always nice to put something in that's high probability, and you come back little later or much later, and then you see it played out exactly as you thought it would. Something like this, yeah? And let's go ahead and put in the subsequent retracement. Something like this. Something like this. I don't know the time frame because this wave 5 can be quite extended. Let's also make this sub-minuet. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's Avalanche. And then we said we were looking at FTM, which we also have. FTM. Here we go. So FTM. Okay, so it looks like this is not quite in price discovery, but it's free from pretty much any type of serious resistance. And I kind of showed that right here. Okay, this is the bear market accumulation channel. All of that stuff happened. You broke up and out, retested it as support, and now you're just off to the races. This is your next significant level of resistance, around 115, 116, and would not be surprised if getting to that point created some sort of move back down, right, before continuation. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm seeing FTM go up, at least in the immediate short term, about 100% more before any kind of significant retracement. That's what I see with FTM. So Andy says, thanks for your videos. Your ability to read charts is incredible. I could watch your videos all day long. I appreciate it. Thank you for that support and that encouragement. Oh yeah, Alice. I didn't look at Alice. Alice, let's add that because we don't have it. Okay. So as always, zooming out. Let's zoom out on the weekly because it seems like we have quite a bit of activity here. This looks to me, first glance, right? Not even knowing that, I'm not going to chase for the best charts or anything like that. Let's just assume that this is the most data intensive chart that we have. This is what you would call a bull flag, right? This is your flagpole. This is your flag, right? That's what you call it. Flagpole and the flag. That's your flagpole and your flag. This is the first thing that jumps out at my mind when I look at this, right? Secondly, I think this is 3 waves. So I'm looking at a 3-wave correction, okay? So whatever the launch is or was, if it was fair launch or like a distribution of tokens, whatever, I think this is what that was. That's what that looks like, okay? And they pumped up the price. There's a lot of sketchy things going on with how different organizations, DAOs, different projects launch. Typically, what you're going to see is the launch taking the price down, people selling off. But here's a bit opposite. It goes up before it goes down. That's kind of sketchy. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of sketchy that it goes up before it goes down. But whatever. Let's just assume that this is just... I'm not going to make any sort of... I'm not going to assume any foul play or anything like that. but you do typically see the initial move down and not up. And then what I like about this actually is that whatever this was, it's very organic. It's not somebody just dumping tokens. Over a decent amount of time, you have this organic three-wave distribution, this correction. So even if there's a lot of different ways to distribute tokens, to launch tokens, whatever it was, the price increased and the price decreased really organically. That basically, without knowing anything fundamental about this project, and I know nothing about this project, I have no idea what it does. I have a feeling that there's no funny business. Even though the initial launch created an increase of a really stark increase of the token price, the subsequent sell-off tells me there's no funny business, and it tells me that the supply is valued. There's no instances, there's no I'm just gonna dump this as soon as I get it. That's what the chart says. It's okay, just very normal, natural, over the course of the bear market, some people decide to dump, some people decide to buy more, and then finally people decide to dump in the natural three-wave pattern. Okay, so that's my high time frame read. That's the story I get on the weekly. And then I just go to the daily, looking more closely at that three-wave ABC zigzag, it looks like. Or is it a flat correction? It's a flat correction. It's ABC flat correction, yeah. I think it stops here, right there. Again, May 12th. I think May 12th was... No. I think it stops here. November. Almost mid-November. I think this is A wave, B wave, and then your C wave comes all the way down here. This was a wave 4. That being said, this is a significant level of resistance where we're at right now, because this is the support level of that wave 4, and now it's resistance for where we're at now. So I do expect that once we break and retest this level, you should get some fireworks. You should get some strong movement to the upside. Do you see that? And this is a legitimate level. So many traders, they just put lines anywhere. No, look at what the chart's telling you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points over the course of six data points over the course of 180 days. So you should have no questions about the validity of this level. This is a valid resistance level. It's not indomitable. Damn it, I'm saying it in another language. Indomitable. Indomitable? Is that how you say it in English? Indomitable. It's not indomitable. It's not impossible to overcome. That's what I'm trying to say. And so it looks like you're overcoming it. You're actually consolidating at resistance, and you're about to pop out of it. So let's look more closely. Let's zoom in on the 4-hourly. And on the 4-hourly, okay, what do I see? I see my consolidation at resistance took the form of this complex correction, this WXY. Yeah, it looks like a WXY, not an ABC to me. And then my subsequent AB basing took place right here, it looks like. And then I started my impulse right there. So I think this is yeah, just a question of a short wait for this to break up, and when it breaks up, it's likely to do something like this and then just continue. I don't think you should spend too long retesting that as support. I think it's going to be retested as support on this time frame in this trend right there. So that's what I see with Alice on the small time frame and the larger time frame. And then the last thing I'll say is I would not feel confident making a projection, a price projection, with this chart information, because this is too nebulous. It's just like a move up. I don't see like a start. I see an end, but I don't see a start, and it just doesn't seem to me reliable enough to say I've got an A wave and I've got a B wave and I can project my C wave. Do you see what I mean? But in principle, given your A wave and given your B wave, you should be able to project your C wave to a certain degree of accuracy. But yeah, not in this case, because there's just not enough data. This just seems too generalized. It's like, I don't know how it works, but when tokens launch, sometimes they just don't have, the exchanges don't have enough information to know what all happened in that week. It's just, it went up. And that's all they know. So just going on the small time frame, let's see. Yeah, same thing on the daily. So yeah, that's the story I'm reading for Alice. And that is it, my friends. I hope everything's well. Hope Bitcoin does go up. It looks like it is going up. Looks like everything seems to be responding in an upside move. We like that. We like that a lot. So do expect this uptrend to continue, not only on the small time frame, but the high time frames, larger time frames, and do expect for the DXY to puke. Yeah, so the DXY does not look bullish to me. Okay, and that was the premise, that was the theme, this is the main topic of this show. And I think that you're going to continue to get a big move down from the DXY. I think that big move that we just got right before we went live was countercorrective. Right? You went down, you went up really quickly, and usually when you go up really quickly, it signals a counter move, especially when the trend exhausts quickly. It's like last ditch effort. It's like the exactly the dead cat bounce. I don't like the term, but the terminology, but it's the dead cat bounce. It's like, the rigor mortis. It's like there's no real strength in that move, but it appears to be strong and real, but it's not. So yeah, very bullish, continuing to be bullish, and yeah, that's it, guys. Take care. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.